ended up in an interception when Mike pulled up the week before, or is that evidence of how these guys are starting to see things?
It was extremely similar, and like it's football, right? It's football that is, the teaching, the lessons from week in and week out, right? And that goes to show you how close every play is in this league. It was a perfect example. We all smiled. I know I smiled on the sideline because I knew how we obviously got better in the week, and it was a different scenario, different situation, but we still had that opportunity and we got that job done. But it just goes to tell you, football, the more we can be out there with each other, the more we can be in these situations, the more we can begin to capitalize and make those type of plays that we should be making.
And every game plan is different, right? Every opponent. That said, you got a guy like Rob Gronkowski, who the ball hasn't really come his way very much. As a play caller, do you feel a responsibility to get any singular guy sort of going in any game, or does it just depend on what the defense does?
Yeah, with the players we got, I think of that all the time. I tell you guys, I think of the player in mind as I'm creating the plays for that week. The player is always in mind. Kind of like sometimes, like I tell you guys all the time, I never want Tom to force the ball. I never want Tom to do something that's not organic. So we have good enough players where if we just be organic and put the ball in the right spot, it'll start finding him. The least of my worries is really the ball finding Gronk. It's things that we have to do better to compete and to win football games that we're trying to do right now. So getting the ball to him and getting the ball to any specific player is always thought out week in and week out. We can do a better job of putting them in position. We will, and we're all just starting to make plays across the board.
Thanks.
All right, next is going to be Janelle.
Hey, Coach. You hear it often in baseball. Hi. You hear it often in baseball that at altitude, the ball travels a lot differently, right? Like that's why they've got like a humidor and everything at Coors Field. What has been your experience both playing the position and coaching the position as far as quarterbacking when you're playing at altitude like that? Is there a noticeable difference in the way the ball travels?
It's a little different. It is different. I remember playing there a couple times and just it's a little different. Not enough to really affect anything, but it is different. It's always great to have a pregame to get used to how the ball's coming out your hand. But it is a little different. I don't know if it's so much difference where there will be a problem or an advantage either way. I just think it's a little different unless you go out there and play in that stadium to understand that you won't really notice it.
We also hear a lot about stamina can be impacted by altitude. Lactic acid buildup can be an issue. We also saw during your scrimmage a 16-play, 98-yard drive. Would it be wise to expect maybe fewer of those this week, or maybe focus more on scoring a little bit faster as opposed to those long drives because of that type of situation?
We're just trying to score. We're trying to do whatever we can to score. So we don't care if it's 3 plays, 10 plays, 16 plays. We got to be prepared for whatever it is. So as an offense, our mindset is try to get the ball and try to score points. So we don't really care about how many plays it is. We just got to be prepared for anything. As long as we stay prepared for whatever it takes, that's all that really matters. But to us, it don't matter how many plays it is. We just got to be ready if we do have a 14, 15-play drive that we can do what we can to get points.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, next is going to be Scott Reynolds.
Hey, Byron. I know it's a luxury having as many weapons as you have, but is it also kind of a challenge as a play caller when you have that many guys that are capable of making big plays for you? You go back to Arizona, it was Larry Fitzgerald and maybe another guy or two when you were a play caller there, but this is an arsenal that not a lot of teams have.
And that's why you try to make it organic. You try not to force the ball because in the preparation, you try to put guys in position that, the progression sends us to a place where we like our matchup. So we think of that way. And when I'm coming up with these plays, I think of that way. So it's not really tough because how these guys are focused on just winning football games. They're more focused on winning football games. We're not really thinking about individual things. That means nothing to us. We're trying to do what we can as a team to try to win football games. And whatever that take, all the guys are sold in. All the guys got all hands on deck doing what we need to do to try to win games.
And Byron, can you speak to the development that you've seen from your right guard, Alex Kappa, taking that step from really a starter for the first time last year, changed his body this offseason, and what you've seen from him so far through these first 2 games? Thank you. Cap was a small school guy that nobody knew about. We love how physical he was. We love the way he go about the game. I love his smarts. This is a smart kid. He understands what we expect of him. He understands what we're trying to get accomplished. And it's good to see him playing this way, especially it's just the second year in the system. I tell you guys this so much. These guys are getting comfortable across the board, and we're beginning to do things and be the players that we can be. So, I mean, we got all the respect for Cap, one of the tough guys in our locker room, one of the tough guys in our huddle. We appreciate what he brings to the table week in and week out. Thank you.
All right, next is Ed Encina.
Hi, Byron. And just kind of going back to talking about, trying to create an organic kind of offense and play calling and the way you use guys. How organic was it when you went to Leonard Fournette in the second half, specifically in the fourth quarter, to kind of use him as a guy who can close out the game, keep the clock running, and obviously he got that big run. And, when you have a weapon like that, is it, Bruce had said, I like using him in the fourth quarter. Is that an advantage to having this kind of all these guys that you do have at the running back position?
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's tough to tackle. He's a great 4-minute running back. Just give him the ball and let him barrel over guys. And he has instincts of a little guy. He has little guy instincts. He has little guy vision. So he get to certain cuts. He make the right cut all the time. So we're happy to have him. We're trying to get him more and more involved as we go. Just from, he's only been with us, 2 weeks, something like that. And he's picking it up fast. But like as a room, I think we got so much production from that room. What Shady did, what Rowe did, and Lenny F is what we've been calling him today, is just working his way in and doing what he can to put his hand in the pile. And we appreciate everything he do for us.
And obviously outside the building and just in the football world, everyone looks to say, okay, who's the RB1, right? But with the guys you've got, I mean, your guys don't kind of get caught up in that, do they? The notion of like who's here in the depth chart, who's there in the depth chart. They all know that they're a part of this puzzle, right?
Yeah, I hope not. I don't think so. I think I understand the temperament of our guys. I think we got a great room. Rowe's always starting us out. Like I tell you, you guys know how I feel about Rowe. We was able to add Shady. We was able to add Lenny. And it's just a good room, just a really good room. And with guys that has had production in this league, guys that has done good things in this league, it's always good to have that type of experience.
Thank you.
And next is going to be Steve Isbitz.
Coach, can you talk a little bit more about what you saw from LaShawn McCoy in the passing game and what his comfort level is with Tom Brady and how that might evolve?
Yeah, I think he's getting comfortable day in and day out. He's a guy that, we didn't have, especially it's tough, man, when you're having no offseason. Guys we're coming in training camp, and we're trying to get ready to play a football game. But football is a year-round job. So the way that these guys come to work every day, from protections, from what we're thinking in the running game, for what we're thinking for them in the passing game, they really do an excellent job of coming in and honing in to what they need to do as running backs to put themselves in position to be successful. So, like I said, the more this team can practice, the more we can rep things, the more we can be in game situations, is the better for us.
And Tristan Wirfs from week 1 to week 2, what kind of improvement did you see, if any?
I mean, Tristan is being Tristan. Sometimes it's tough to even know if he's a rookie. He got such a great demeanor. He's a pro. He's a man's man. And like I said, I never really have to say his name a lot. I'm never really saying Tristan's name a lot, and that's always great when you're talking about rookie offensive linemen.
All right, next is going to be Luke Easterling.
Byron, when we talked to Clyde yesterday, he talked about how, this was really the first week heading into a game plan where you had, as close to a fully healthy Mike and Chris at the same time, how much fun that was to kind of see that in practice finally, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and what it's like to be able to go into a game with two of those guys as close to fully healthy as possible.
Yeah, we were great in the beginning of camp, and we was getting a lot of reps. And anytime you have those two guys out there healthy, you're going to look different, when those guys are out there. So, like I said, we lost Mike right before week 1, then we lost Chris. So it's good to have both of those guys out there in the huddle. We know what they bring to us as a team. We know these are our playmakers. These are two of our playmakers, and you want to be able to put them guys on the field as much as possible. But the key is being able to really practice with them out there so we can keep developing and keep making sure we're on the same page.
And then you guys have played one game on the road, one game at home, no fans, but, the crowd noise that's piped in and stuff like that. Have you guys noticed from an offensive standpoint any sort of impact on the game, or whether it's an advantage or otherwise, in terms of not having that noise or that energy, whether it's good or bad?
It's our job to go out and play and try to play well, regardless of any fans there, if any noise there. It is a little different. I'd be lying to say that it's different because you're talking to the quarterback from the sideline. That has never been done. I can talk to Thomas actually from the sideline. We can yell at each other. We can say things to each other that was never possible of doing before. But, I mean, it's different from that aspect. But once the game get rolling, hey, we got a job to do. We got to go out and find a way to execute.
All right, we have time for a couple more. We're going to go with one from Greg Allman, followed by one from Jenna Lane.
Hey, Byron, I want to ask you about Ryan Jensen, if I could, as kind of the veteran guy on that line in the middle there, and just what he's done even last year and now this year to kind of establish a physical attitude on that line from the middle.
His leadership is priceless. His physicality is priceless. He puts us in position. He's a smart guy, and that's what you respect about him. You respect the violence that he brings to the game. You respect his ability to think his way through out there on the football field. He's one of our leaders. He's the guy to get them guys going. He's the first guy to touch the ball. And anytime you have a guy like this is how you want your center to be. You want your center to be a tough guy, smart guy, can make all the calls. And when he go out there and play the game on Sunday, he played with a certain sort of violence.
Thanks, Byron.
No problem.
This question is going to come from Jenna.
Hey, Coach Clyde. Coach Clyde said yesterday that that Brady sometimes, like when they were on opposing sides, that he would get so amped up and fired up that it would scare him. What is it like from your vantage point being next to him? Because you've also seen scariness out of Coach Arians as well. Who gets scarier out there?
I don't know how scary these two guys are, neither one of them, but they get
very emotionally charged.
Yes, they get. I've seen Tom have these bursts of energy. Both of them, they love these bursts of energy where they have to get it out. They have to get it out. I love it though. I love everything about it because it's who they are. It's who they are. We try to ask them to be exactly who you are. We love who Tom is. We love who Coach is. So we want everybody to be themselves here. We preach it. Come here to be yourself. Let out what you need to let out and just make sure we're ready to work and try to do what we can to win football games. That's the great thing about having a guy like Tom. I mean, he brings that every day. That is every day, practice, games. That's the way he approached the game of football. I think it helps our football team, especially our young guys, with seeing a guy like that who's 43 years old still come out every day with that sort of type of energy.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for today. Thanks, Byron.
Okay, guys, have a good one.
You too.